The Lambeth Conference is a decennial assembly of bishops of the Anglican Communion convened by the Archbishop of Canterbury. The first such conference took place in 1867. As the Anglican Communion is an international association of autonomous national and regional churches, the Lambeth Conference is not a canonical tribunal, but neither is it merely a general consultation. It is a meeting of the chief pastors and teachers of the Communion, seeking an authoritative common voice. Decisions of the conference have no binding power over the 38 national Anglican churches, which must adopt them by synodical or other constitutional means to give them legal force. The Lambeth Conference forms one of the Communion's 4 instruments of communion. The idea of a Lambeth Conference was first suggested in a letter to the Archbishop of Canterbury Charles Longley by Bishop John Henry Hopkins of Vermont in 1851. The possibility of such an international gathering of bishops had first emerged during the Jubilee of the Church Missionary Society in 1851, when a number of United States bishops were present in London. However, the initial impetus came from Episcopal churches in Canada. In 1865, the Synod of that province, in an urgent letter to Archbishop of Canterbury Longley, represented the unsettlement of members of the Canadian Church caused by recent legal decisions of the Privy Council and their alarm lest the revived action of convocation should leave us governed by canons different from those in force in England and Ireland, and thus cause us to drift into the status of an independent branch of the Catholic Church. They, therefore, requested him to call a national synod of the bishops of the Anglican Church at home and abroad, to meet under his leadership. Archbishop Longley made it clear that he would not be summoning any kind of synod, as that would have been illegal under English law. Rather, he was inviting some personal guests of his own for consultation. After consulting both houses of the Convocation of Canterbury, Archbishop Longley assented and convened all the bishops of the Anglican Communion, then 144 in number, to meet at Lambeth in 1867. Many Anglican bishops, amongst them the Archbishop of York and most of his suffragans, felt so doubtful as to the wisdom of such an assembly that they refused to attend it, and Dean Stanley declined to allow Westminster Abbey to be used for the closing service, giving as his reasons the partial character of the assembly, uncertainty as to the effect of its measures, and the presence of prelates not belonging to our church. Archbishop Longley said in his opening address, however, that they had no desire to assume the functions of a general synod of all the churches in full communion with the Church of England, but merely to discuss matters of practical interest, and pronounce what we deem expedient in resolutions which may serve as safe guides to future action. Thus, from their beginning, Lambeth conferences have been neither councils nor synods, but conferences. They have no legislative authority, so they cannot impose a doctrine or discipline. They are forums by which the mind of the Communion can be expressed. Accounts of all the Lambeth conferences follow Section 3, Conferences.